So I've actually, people have told me like move ahead is like the next Alireza.
Oh wow!
He's a very, very big talent. I was told that a couple years ago, so I've definitely kept an eye on him. He hasn't showed like the top results yet in classical, but I think if he gets some chances, is gonna for sure be up there. He very, very talented kid. And here we have Terry Renato from Peru, who is known to be a blitz specialist. He's actually only an international master, but we always see his name in top of the list in Title Tuesdays.
And it does feel like maybe he's trolling Magnus, or maybe he's got a vote of his own with the viewers, because he played 1A3. And that is an opening we had on the poll for Magnus, and it wasn't voted the top choice. If I played Magnus Carlsen, I would not be playing the move 1A3, that is for sure. And okay, he's got a decent position, but he has given Magnus the center. Ariane, what is this? Like, you're an IM, you're playing one of the best players in the world, and A3 on move 1.
Yeah, you would really think that the colors are switched up here, and Magnus is playing with the white pieces.
Yeah.
I really don't like the opening choice, because if there's like some place where you can try to get an advantage against Magnus, is like try to play more forcing lines in the opening. But Magnus, this is definitely like in his territory, just a random position where he can move around and outplay his opponent. So now he plays c4 to protect that pawn.
Oh.
I actually don't like the knight on a5 here. It seems like this could be slightly better for white.
I'm surprised Magnus, he put his bishop on a square, like helping white play a move that probably he needed to play anyway, c4. And then he moves his bishop again. It does feel like a bit of a loss of time. And just kind of helping white, like you said, opening up the A file with the black knight there. Doesn't feel amazing. But okay, it's still a very level looking position.
Yeah, does feel like a typical Magnus position with the white pieces here. But yeah, maybe white can play like bishop to c3 now, try to maybe play queen c1, queen b2. It's going to be a maneuvering game, but white should be a bit better here. With a knight on a5, it's out of the game. He's maybe going to try to get that to b7 and d6 potentially.
Yeah, it's all about the maneuvers. Very, very positional battle here. But Terry, he was the one who chose this opening. He's the one who's now down 50 seconds on the clock. So perhaps regretting those earlier choices, putting a lot of pressure on himself to play good moves early.
I'm very surprised by the long think here, because it doesn't feel like a position where you need to spend a lot of time with white. It's not complicated. You can actually make easy moves here.
Exactly. And I liked your plan. He starts that, maybe just bracing for the black knight to jump into e4. And if we do see trade of bishops, the white queen is ready to jump forward. This is, now Magnus's turn to think for a little while.
Well, Magnus is thinking. I could say that move ahead and Nakamura is in equal position so far, and they've spent equal amounts of time on the board as well.
Maybe Magnus was briefly considering to trade the bishops there with bishop to d3. Goes queen c7. I still like maybe bishop e5 here, actually, just getting a tempo on that queen before playing queen to b2.
Yeah, the white queen can now improve herself. Yeah, Magnus, I'm not saying he's being outplayed, but like it doesn't feel like he's done much in this position. Maybe struggling for a plan simply.
So you're not saying he's not being outplayed, but you're not saying he's not being outplayed either, right?
It's somewhere between outplayed and just making moves for the sake of moves. I'm not sure about white's last move, unless he really does mean to take this knight off the board. Did feel like a bit of a choice.
I don't think you really want to take that knight. It's a very committal decision.
Mm-hmm. And this is why I was surprised. Like, why move the bishop back when likely black's knight was moving out the way anyway? Like, the bishop was on a great square, could have traded off in one move. Instead, he's kind of wasted a move that he could have been pushing a pawn forward, for example, just to wait, create some escape squares for his king for later. But feels like something's about to happen. It's just very unclear what that is.
I keep going back to the time aspect here, because Terry knows that he has to play quickly now to not fall too far behind the clock, and that's what can lead to mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who's going to make the first mistake? That is the big question. Maybe a small one by Terry there.
Feels like the last couple of moves have gone Magnus's favor though. Like these trades feels like it benefits black. Like generally if you have less space and an oddly placed piece, you're happy to trade off some pieces. And here, then if the pieces get traded off, suddenly like this c4 pawn can become a target. And the knight on a5 is not too bad after all.
Okay, to trade queens or not to trade queens, that's the question. Does black say, okay, your queen's a good defender? He does say that. I was going to say you could go back as well. Very interesting fork in the road there, but now the black rook is going to land on an open file. There's big pressure building on white's pawn here. It is now it's definitely outplaying, but this time it's Magnus doing the outplaying.
Yeah, it's very typical when you're playing Magnus, like you take your foot off the gas for 1-2 moves, and suddenly Magnus is in a better position here. Definitely didn't look so convincing a few moves ago.
Yeah, suddenly he presses that acceleration pedal, and you just never catch up. That's true. Magnus has so many different gears. The opponents, I mean, Terry's so solid, decent endgame player.
It really feels like one of those scenarios where like Magnus' opponent just gets very nervous. I don't think I've ever seen Terry spend that much time. He's almost like a 2-minute advantage now.
And here we go. He's trying to get those knights off the board, but that is a pawn sacrifice from Terry. Magnus is probably going to take back. Okay, I thought maybe with the rook, but then no, there would have been some tactics there. So he's keeping his rook on the board to deal with white's remaining pawn on that queen side. And just the 1 pawn advantage means he's likely going to end up in a promising endgame, and he's got 2 full extra minutes on the clock. This is Magnus's game now to throw away. Ooh, there's a trick. Bishop takes pawn. That would be a pin from the white rook. How can black?
But actually, how dangerous is that pin?
Yeah.
Maybe you can push c4 there, and you cannot stop both pawns.
Push some pawns. That's right. Maybe black can give up some material and stop running the pawns forward. He does push this pawn first.
It's a practical decision because with the time situation, Terry is anyway going to get flagged here. With the position is bad. Like you're defending with a pawn down in a rook endgame with a 1.5 minute time difference. There's no chance that white can defend this in time. Now the rook has to go to a passive position. Rook a2 probably.
Terry is very, very quick, but I think you need to be superhuman quick to survive this game. Even if black loses the pawn, you can go around for 50 moves, 100 moves here easily and keep the game going.
But this rook endgame is hard to keep if you have plenty of time against Magnus, isn't it?
Exactly. Like even if he had 29 minutes, let alone 29 seconds, he might not hold it. And there we go. The black king was running the other direction. Now he might even sacrifice this pawn just to get the black king in. And now it's, he goes this way instead. And rook trade here would mean that black's king moves in, and there we go. Magnus gets the full point and nudges past Renato Terry there. Very tense game, but he gets the job done.